got the latest news. We don't care about the views, we just representing right. Put local news internationally every night. On the spot, wave that Jamaican flag from left to right. Let's get it right, y'all know the type. We ain't dealing with the hype. We make it take flight.
Yeah man, my viewers and subscribers, what go on. A blessed and wonderful Monday morning to each and every person out there tuning into On The Spot News Media. Now my peeps, I don't know how we do it over on this side each and every morning. We have to give thanks and praise to the Most High Creator for the preservation of life, because life is indeed the greatest. So in the morning, my peeps, I have a few stories to share with you, the regular members of Chan Public and also members of the diaspora. So please like the video, share the video, watch the entire vlog so you can get a full understanding and a better appreciation of everything we are going in Jamaica. So in the morning, my peeps, we are going to talk about some great finds done by the police, a decent spot of work put on by the squad of them in the streets. Then we'll be hearing from Prime Minister Andrew Holness as it relates to the hot topic of crime and violence that has been plaguing our communities and our country at large over the years. Then of course we're going to get into the knockings and clappings which unfortunately took the life of some people courtesy of the old dirty corner boy them. Yeah man. So on your screen, my peeps, the Trelawny police has seized this Stoga 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 12 live 9mm rounds during a targeted operation in Felix Pond, Duncan's Trelawny. Several cellular phones and laptops were also seized in that operation and other lottery scamming paraphernalia. 3 men have, however, been arrested in connection with the seizure of the firearm and breaches of the anti-lottery scamming legislation. And still over there in the parish of Trelawny, members of the Joint Security Forces seized 2 9mm pistols presently on your screen and 47 rounds of ammunition during a spot check along Saltmarsh Main Road in Trelawny. Police officers intercepted a public passenger vehicle coming from St. James where a backpack was searched and the weapons found. No one was arrested in connection with that find as the police emptied the bus and the backpack was left behind. So another decent spot of work right this again by the squad of them. Now over there in the parish of St. Catherine, a 9mm pistol and 37 rounds of ammunition was seized during a joint police military operation in the community of Garden Pen. All of this took place about 4 a.m. on Sunday, November 20. 4 men has since been taken into custody and are facing criminal charges that could result in the minimum sentence of 15 years in prison if found guilty. So the gun amnesty has been tossed through the door. And on that topic, the last set of firearms that was handed over to the police. On your screen is a video clipping of same. Someone to know watch and see where I go on. Yeah man.
Madman really have says, watch out, a madman bring you in the station and go and give you some. Mr. Garrix, I heard that today is the last day of the amnesty. Look. Boy, my friend, when we look close to backside, no fake gun them. Madman say 100,000 after them.
So now my peeps, to how me hear people cuss the ruling Jamaica Labour Party and its party leader, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Me surprised to see the turnout at its 79th annual General Conference in St. Andrew. Boy, I tell you my peeps, some people I guess is just a bag of mouth and literally no action. But anyway, Prime Minister Andrew Holness yesterday laid out additional elements of his government's strategy to contain the country's spiraling murder rate and the rampant criminality. PM Holness also stated his intention of having dialogue with American counterparts to basically stem the flow of illegal weapons in the country, and also by targeting Jamaicans who are known dons living in the United States of America and other first world countries in different parts of the world. PM Holness also stated that the government is not solely relying on the states of public emergency. He also added that the strategy of the security forces will change. PM Holness also stated that the government is presently engaging with officials in the United States of America to stem the flow of illegal guns in Jamaica. The Prime Minister then turned his attention to local prisons. He says a high security facility is to be built with communication dead spot to house high-risk criminals. Now let us hear from the Prime Minister as it relates to that particular speech that he made. Listen.
It is not only criminals overseas that are remotely programming crime and murders locally. In our local prisons, criminals are conducting extortion operations and directing murders right out of our prisons. I have given instructions that the high security facility with a communications dead spot be built as a project of strategic national interest. We can put them in facilities where they cannot influence crime and murders outside of the facility. And we have made some slight changes to the Corrections Act. But we plan to come now with a new corrections bill that will have in it custodial penalties for persons who are charged with the responsibility of securing the criminals and preventing them from having access to the outside world, to give them stiffer custodial penalties for facilitating the criminals in the prison. This bill will be a state of emergency on criminals. It will have the development of a watch list for criminals. It will have special orders for detention for criminals, and it will have the imposition of control orders on the activities of criminals. These will give the police standing powers. We intend to have this bill before Parliament in the next fiscal year.
Now, my peeps, the next story that we're going to talk about is a story that I covered separately, where 3 members of one family end up lose them 3 pints in a place called Tollgate, Clarendon, where 46-year-old Alicia Francis and her husband, 61-year-old Evan Francis, was brutally gunned down right in front of their Tollgate home. And just hours before they met their demise, the son of Evan Francis, a 39-year-old man known as Kenrick Francis, also lost his life in what appeared to be a bizarre circumstance. Now, the police are theorizing that an alleged forged document, a forged will, that stemmed a simmering dispute between father and son, basically dead left property. So my peeps, a land dispute gone sour that took the life of 3 persons in one family. Now the issue, the long-standing issue of domestic dispute, has always been a problem in Jamaica. Now this triple loss of life in this one family has taken it to a whole nother level. Now it all started when family patriarch William Francis, that is Evan's father, lost his life on March 5th back in 2018, and following his burial a month later, some of his children and other relatives convened for the reading of his will. The late retired tractor driver named several beneficiaries, including his grandson Kenrick, whom he gave a portion of the sought-after Duke Street property where Evan had started to build a house along with other relatives. Now, the man's estate was not settled. However, as shortly after Evan, which is the father, emerged with a will he claimed contained the true wishes of his father, The proportion will include members of the family who were not beneficiaries in the first will, while some listed in the first will were not found in the second. So according to the police source, the members of the family who declined to be named stated that Kenrick was among those not named in the will produced by his father. So the Clarendon police have confirmed that Kenrick filed a complaint with the fraud squad. The size of the property was reduced years ago after the government bought a portion of the property for construction of the Mapen leg of the Williamsfield Highway. Now, there is a view in the family that with the highway so close to the property, its value would rise significantly. Evan and one of his brothers occupied different premises on the property. Now, Kenrick, the son of Evan, who started to build on the property, reportedly had to abandon plans and move away to Milk River as the dispute with his father intensified. Now, the deep rift divided the family, one side supporting Kenrick the son and also the other side defending Evan the father. Relatives overseas has said to reportedly fueled that dispute. The matter dragged until October 31st when Evan called a meeting with his children and other relatives to discuss a development. Kenrick was, however, not present at that meeting as it is said that he was not invited by his father. His father disclosed at that meeting that he was being sued by Kenrick for an alleged bogus will. Evan had received a letter from Kenrick's lawyer asserting that the second will was not valid. At least one of his children reportedly pointed out that the signature on the will he produced appeared to be different from that of the first one, and almost 24 hours after that meeting, Kenrick was found you know what. Kenrick's story is sort of really sick and barbaric because he was chased and gunned down brutally in the street, leaving his body lifeless. And within 24 hours of that, his father and stepmother were also gunned down in the tollgate area. So according to police reports, Evan and his wife drove up in separate motor vehicles at their home on Duke Street sometime after 5 p.m. in the afternoon of November 1. Evan reportedly exited his vehicle to open the gates whilst his wife sat inside her car. Gunmen approached and conned them up multiple times, leaving their bodies lifeless. The whereabouts of Kenrick's mother is unclear, and the police stated that they found it really curious that Evan did not turn up to identify his own son's lifeless body. Kenrick's postmortem is, however, scheduled for tomorrow. Relatives and residents of the communities have remained tight-lipped on that triple tragedy and the sordid family dispute. So my peeps, this is really a sad one indeed. Now the last thing that we are going to look upon is a knockings and clappings over there in John's Hall, a section of St. James, where a man and a child was reportedly conned up at a funeral procession. Now, according to sources close to On The Spot News Media, a 27-year-old man, Samuel Shaw, otherwise called Alj, get a portion taken to him skin whilst attending a funeral in his community. It is also reported to On The Spot News Media that he was sitting in his car along the Johns Hall main road when he was pounced upon by armed criminals. A child, however, who is said to have also been inside the car, did not survive that brutal attack. Some stray can end up reach the Likkle youth, and me are telling them, my peeps, the Likkle youth was pronounced you know what upon his arrival at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Sources stated that the child is not a resident of Janzal, but traveled with family members to the community to attend the funeral. This is a picture of the 5-year-old boy that was brutally gunned down in that brutal onslaught over there in Janzal, St. James. Summer peeps, how many more of our family members do we have to mourn before we take the issue of crime and violence serious? I've seen where persons are blaming the government. By a long shot, yes, they have their part to play. Persons are blaming the security forces for the levels of crime and violence. And yes, indeed, the security forces also have their part to play. But persons are seemingly just not remembering that we, the regular members of Jan Public, also have our part to play. And the only way we can get rid of, or at least take it down somewhat, this brutal crime and violence that has been plaguing our society, is if each person played their part in advancing the welfare of Jamaica. Yeah, man, to thine own self be true. So anyway, my peeps, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to On The Spot News Media as I continue to bring you fresh news and updates in subsequent newscasts. On The Spot News Media. Yeah, man.